Hey, welcome everybody to another Friday Mortgage Coach Mastermind. I'm here live in Portland, Oregon, out of a WeWork with my partner in crime, Todd Buxman.
Dude, it is so fun to be here live at my old haunt WeWork in Portland. So it's always a little awkward when Dave and I are here live together because then we kind of look at each other and then look at you guys. But I'm super excited to be here and doing this. And we got Jen here as well on the phone. Hey, Jen.
Hey, everybody. Hope you're having a great week.
We are. At least Todd and I are. Hope everybody else is having a good week too. So the questions that are coming in most common right now are about mortgage strategies with rising interest rates, and are none the number one strategy leading the charge is the seller funded buy down. So that's definitely going to be a topic on today's mastermind. But I'm also, I've heard of other strategies. Like I've had a number of people talk to me about a seller-funded MI buyout. So what would happen if we got the seller as part of the concession to actually just pay off MI? What does that do to the affordability of their home? How does it make it unique? So that's a strategy that has come up multiple times over the past couple of weeks. We're also going to do a debrief on Sales Mastery and MBA. Todd and I were both at Sales Mastery together. I then went on to MBA in Washington, D.C. So we're going to share a few ideas and thoughts, and if you all do have any questions, let us know what your questions are. And then we've got the MI buy down strategy, we have debrief, and then Q&A. Anything you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about. I do think there were a couple of posts in our Facebook group that I want to make sure we cover today. Jen, do you have any questions or any topics you want to make sure we talk about today?
No, because I think everything that you've got is what we did talk about. A lot of same things with the coaching I'm working with.
Okay, great. By the way, you're kind of coming in and out, so if there's a sound issue, we'll let you know. I do want to let folks know, before today's call, I posted a link to a LinkedIn article that myself and our team are working on over the weekend. We're putting together a playbook for the seller buy down. So stay tuned. Hopefully, if everything goes well over the weekend, by Monday, we will post that. What we did is we took and transcribed the Tuesday call. So this Tuesday, we had a call dedicated to that. Had some top mortgage coach professionals share ideas, scripting, strategies, and walk through their seller buy downs. So we transcribed that. We also transcribed 2 Fridays ago. We had Jeremy Forcier in the first 15 minutes talk about how he sent out an email to 500 realtors and how he's evangelizing and educating around seller buy down. So we transcribed that, and then we're going to create this article. So for anybody that's nerded out over the weekend, you can watch that article take shape. And if you have ideas, things that you think would make it better, content that you think we should look at as we're developing this playbook, put it. I think I did make this an editable document. At some point, I'm going to lock it down and not let just anybody edit it. So you guys can edit the document for now. And then you can always put comments in the thread. So you're watching this in our Facebook mastermind group. If you have ideas, comments, or questions, put them in Facebook comments below. So Todd, how do you think we should do this? Do you think we should just jump into seller buy down? Because I just think that could take a long time. Or should we do either first?
I think we're already here, so let's run with the buy down. I just love when you put together these articles. I think it's such a gift to the community. And so if you haven't checked out Dave's previous articles that he's posted on LinkedIn, on lead conversion, on annual mortgage reviews, they're just top notch. And of course, anytime you get to see John Downs, Mr. Dapper, just looking good in a suit, and McQuaig shows up. Come on, what a superstar group you had there. So I'd love some comments in chat. So be thinking as we're going to head, future talk about it, right? We're going to talk about Sales Mastery. I know a bunch of you were at Sales Mastery, so I would love you guys in chat to be putting what your takeaways were. But those of you who are doing the seller buy down, the challenge that you have right now is trying to figure out how to get your clients out of woe is me. You're trying to get your realtors an easy way to refer to you versus somebody else. And I really loved it. If you didn't watch, there's in the Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind Facebook group, Jenny Stoner posted a video where she talks about how she got her client This sounds like her headline was, "Hey, do you wish that rates were still in the fours? Let me show you how I do it for my client." There it is. And so it's a great video. It's something that you can do as well. But even if you haven't done it, right? You've got an opportunity to take what Jenny did and say, "Hey, a friend of mine just did a mortgage," right? You can always use someone else's in this group's experience. You don't have to say, "I did it," because you didn't do it, right? Don't totally steal it that way. But you can say, "Hey, got this great strategy from a friend of mine, and here's what we're doing," and then run her strategy. Because I think it's just a huge way to get out there and create conversation. Whether or not they actually use a strategy or not, that doesn't matter. What you're trying to do is generate phone calls. You're trying to educate your realtors and get rolling on it. What else are your big takeaways, Dave?
Yeah, so just to play off of that, I'm in our Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind group. If you're watching this video and you're not a member of this group, get on it. If you're a member of this group and you want to add some more awesome mortgage pros, you can easily add more people right here. But one of the things I've been doing for the past couple of weeks is being intentional before these Friday calls to create this announcement section. So absolutely, Jenny Stoner did a great job of, what did she do? She told a story. She told a story on Facebook that basically positions a strategy to sell or buy down. So absolutely watch this. And one of the things I want to be doing as our community, so we can all learn faster and crush the competition faster, is be brainstorming on headlines together. So feel free to share your ideas, your headlines in comments. Also, Rick shared. Rick was at Sales Mastery. He heard the buzz about the seller buy down. And what did he do? He did a Facebook Live. So here's another version. Jenny did a video. She uploaded it into Facebook. She put a link to the total cost analysis in comments. And Rick said, "You know what? I'm just going to click on Facebook Live and rock it out." And that was how he brought this strategy to his Facebook community. So another great strategy. Of course, he put a total cost analysis link below. So those are both videos that I would recommend everybody on this call checks out. Also, if you missed Tuesday's call on the seller buy down, again, this is what I'm going to transcribe and create a playbook out of. But if you're a mortgage pro and you're serious about crushing it in this market, getting market share, improving production, and optimizing profits, you absolutely need to watch this call. If you are a manager, I highly recommend you time block a sales meeting and you watch this call with your crew and you pause it, you talk about it. Remember, guys, implementation is everything. And I do think this is one of those strategies where speed of execution matters, because flash forward 2 months from now, the seller funded buy down is not going to be like this innovative, "Oh, wow, I hadn't thought of that." That's not going to be the case. So I think the mortgage professional that can be the first to bring this to buyer's agents, seller's agents, wins biggest. And the loan officer that can deliver the content in the most effective way possible wins long term. And that's what you guys need Mortgage Coach for. Anything you want to add, Todd?
Well, it's funny. I would totally go with the Facebook Live piece. If you haven't tried it, those of you who follow me on Facebook, it's sort of been the thing I've been playing around with. And, it seems to me, you get two ways to do it. You could stand here like this in your office and you could have a conversation via Facebook Live. I've been doing them walking down the street, and those have been the ones where I get the most engagement. They're a little bit rambling, but they're kind of rambling on purpose, and you're getting people to engage and get rolling with you. And then you've got this opportunity when you're done, you can save it, and then you can choose not to post it or to post it. And what I'm finding is that I'm getting a lot of interaction, both live when I'm doing the video, I'm getting interaction after the video is over. And then I'm also getting a lot of direct messages and texts and whatnot from people engaging around what I say. And, you see me on here, I don't necessarily always go point A, B, C, D. I'm kind of, jumping all over. But I would encourage you to try Facebook Live and see with your followers how that works. And so just watch something like Rick's, watch Jenny's. And then Dave just said implementation is the key. I think there's too many of us thinking for perfect right now. And I'll talk about it. I mean, my theme right now is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. And so I keep pushing myself to do things that, aren't natural to me. And so I would encourage it for you, right?
So guys, just playing off the Facebook Live, I just pulled it up on my iPad. So everybody that has joined us in Facebook Live for this mastermind, Patrick, what's up? Rachel, how goes? Great place to engage. I'm hearing more and more mortgage coach members are digging this just because it's so easy to jump on this call and listen in a live experience, and it's really easy to add comments. So for the Facebook Live folks that are watching us, feel free to ask questions as we go. So couple other things, and then Jen, be ready. We're going to bring you in for any ideas or questions you want to address. I pinned this post from Michael in the announcements because Michael asked a question that I've heard a lot, where he talks about he's sharing TCA links and he's looking for ideas to get the link clicked on more often. And then he's talking about how is he getting people to download the mobile app. So I'm going to take a quick riff at this because I think it's on point and it's a question that you're not alone with, Michael. By the way, thank you for posting this question because it helps not only you, but it helps everybody else in the community. So put it this way, if you're not getting the total cost analysis link in an email, if it's to a single family, like you talk to them and you send them the link, and you're not getting like a 90 to 95% click-through, it's you. It's how you framed it. It's how you positioned it. And I've interviewed enough top producers to know that, you know, we're talking 90 to 100% of the people click on it if you framed it well. And by the way, if you want to hear some scripting, the Mortgage Coach scripts call, if you're watching this recording, I'll put a link down below, has some good scripting from some top producers. Now, if you're sending this out to 500 realtors, you're not going to get 90% click-through. And I am hearing a wide range of click-throughs in terms of how many people do it. It's like all marketing. It's how good was your headline? How well did you set it up? We don't necessarily have enough time to get into that in detail right now. I would love anybody that's on the call right now, if you are sending out links, like let's just say to 100 to 500 realtors, what is a good, what's top of the mountain for the number of agents that click through that? Why don't we just, in the call here, put a comment, share what percentage of click-through you're getting. But I can tell you this, if nobody's clicking through it, it's you. It's either your headline, it's the relationship you have, that database, it's how you position it. Because I am getting reports, when I did that call a couple Fridays ago with Jeremy Forcier, he had literally sent out a link to 500 realtors, and we were interviewing the next morning, and he already had leads and appointments and loans. So, and by the way, his actual email, the headline, everything, it's in this group. So go find it, and Jeremy shares his headline, his email that he used. So it's in here somewhere. Todd, anything you want to add to this particular question?
I mean, I'm just thinking I would take Jeremy's, same thing with Jenny's video, right? Swipe and adapt, right? Take his video, take his link, take his email, take his headline. Yeah, you can customize it for you and do the rest. But in the end, it's not, done is better than perfect, right? And just get it sent out. And I would just be looking at what these other people are doing and try to mimic that if you're uncomfortable, if you're having the same, any kind of struggles. There's too much genius in this group from the members already that you should need to be overthinking it and getting worried. Just get it out there. And if yours isn't working, then try something different. There's no reason that you can't send another one out if the first one didn't work.
Yeah, and I think in this particular thread, his actual email is in the comments of this thread. So I will find it. And by the way, for anybody that's asking, I will share a photo of the actual email so you can see the photo. And then in comments, I'll put a link. And guys, again, we're here to learn faster together. It's a big industry. I think, we all know that we compete with ourselves for the most part. And we're here to just help this community of mortgage coach professionals learn faster, win bigger than the folks that are in our community. So if you want to share something, feel free to share it in our group. So I think we kind of crushed the answer to that, right? I mean, anything else we should say? And by the way, Jen, anything you want to share about some of the opening thoughts or about Michael's post here?
Yep, I would. Thank you. So the first thing is going back to, well, let's just talk about this one real quick. The key is, again, to slow down to speed up. It might be, and I don't know, Michael, how you've set this up, but I think Dave's comment is right on point, is that It might be that you're just sending it out to the client and hoping that they use it the way that you want it to be used. And so I'm going to go back to what I've been kind of harping on for months and months, to just slow down to speed up. It requires a phone call to the client to help them understand why they need to download the app, and slow down to speed up, to have a conversation with the real estate agent to help them understand why you're sending it to them. So it's not just enough to have information in front of them, because that alone doesn't provide value. It's the why behind that as well. Why you're sending it and why it's critical that they look at it and how it can help them. It's that radio station with them, right? What's in it for them? And so I would just make sure that part of your process includes having a conversation that they're going to receive it, and this is why they want to look at it. It's not just that you're trying to do some type of a sales pitch. So that would be the first thing. The second, on the prospecting with the 2-1 buy down, everyone's mentioned everything about being online. Yeah. Yes?
You were doing great, and then something happened with your connection, and you're getting really choppy. Just FYI.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We'll
I'm sorry. Well, yeah. Okay. Well, on the prospect, on the 2-1 buy down, everyone has talked about live and Facebook and those types of things. I just want to remind everybody that this is a perfect time to send out a video to your prospects and a video to the realtors that are working with those prospects to say, look, I've got a new strategy, give me a call. So rather than go out to the big bad world and hope that those prospects see the 2-1 buy down strategy, why not go to them directly in addition to online and social media?
Okay. Jen, thank you so much for that, by the way. FYI, if there is a way for you to possibly improve your connection, you might want to call in or figure something out, just because it got a little rough to hear you at the end there. So guys, if you have questions on the seller buy down, now would be the time to bring those up. So any questions that you have, bring them up. There was a question from Monica that got pretty technical. And for questions like that, I would love for you guys to email support@mortgagecoach.com or through Mortgage Coach or on our website. You can actually chat live. Just because, and by the way, before this call, Marcy, our head of support, was saying, hey, Dave, we are blowing up with questions and leadership around seller-funded buy-downs, whether it's buying down the rate by 3% or whether it is paying off MI. We're getting just a tremendous amount of questions. So one, if you email support or go through chat, they've got answers for you. And then I also want to remind you, on Thursday at 9 o'clock, that's a Q&A question. It's all about strategies within our advice platform. We're there. It's like going to Apple Genius Bar. We will sit with you as long as you want and make sure everybody gets their questions answered.
Those are smart.
Yeah, right? You like that?
I like that.
You like that? And by the way, this Thursday, I am sure that there were questions on the seller buy down, and it's available on our YouTube channel. So, you can go into our YouTube channel, watch this Thursday's call. I just know that the seller buy down came up in that call. And if you want to really fine tune how you are using our advice engine and the total cost analysis and the seller buy down analysis, go listen to this Thursday's call, email support@mortgagecoach.com or chat with us live. And those types of technical questions will get answered like really fast.
So can I highlight one of the things that Jen said?
Yeah, go for it.
So what I love about Jen, so it goes back to the question earlier of getting someone to open up your TCA. It's the idea of, hey, if you're going to send this out to 500 realtors, is you got to pick up the phone, right? I mean, I think that, those of you who know me, that's one of my biggest pet peeves is that loan officers hide behind emails. In fact, people in every industry hide behind emails. And so you have to take the time, schedule the time, make the effort that if you're going to send out the emails, maybe instead of sending 500 out at once, send out 50 today and then make 50 phone calls, right? Block 2 or 3 hours to make the phone calls and say, hey, I sent you an email. You'll see again as people are opening if you send it one-on-one, but when you send out 500, you're just going to see that it's open a certain number of times so you can call up and ask and just think through what your script is going to be like. So when you get the person on the phone, you can explain it to them. If you don't get them on the phone, explain to them why they would want to watch the video, right? Because again, the video is there so you don't have to spend 5 minutes explaining it in full to everyone. And so my encouragement is take Jen's advice and pick up the phone and call people. And then if it's your one-on-one client, Dave's right. If they're not open, it's because you didn't set it up right, but it doesn't mean you can't come back in and save it by calling them afterwards and saying, hey, I noticed you haven't opened the email. Did you get it? Yes or no? And if they say yes, and then, they didn't open it because Dave said it right, you didn't set it up right, and then now you have to encourage them to look at it real quick while you're on the phone with them. I mean, that's the beauty.
Yeah. So by the way, Linda Buchanan, I love your question. I don't want Todd and I to answer this because I don't want to put us in a position where in this type of a call, we're giving tax advice, compliance advice, or legal advice. So I think it's a great question. I would love it if you would post that in our Facebook group and said, hey, this is what my CPA told me. What do you guys think? And let, as a community, give each other that type of advice. But I don't think I am in the position to give that type of advice. So
Dave's just saying that because he had dinner with my wife and she's an attorney last night, so he doesn't want, he knows that our job is to keep out of trouble on this call.
No, it's not. It really is. I just think it's appropriate that anytime, and by the way, I'm going to go on another jot with this. I don't think mortgage professionals should be giving tax advice or predicting what rate of return is going to be on investments. Those are just great opportunities to partner with CPAs. And you're talking to a family and they're asking you for tax advice. You could say, oh, I had a client, I worked with their attorney or their CPA said this. By the way, who's your CPA? Let's get it together and let's talk about it. So I just want to always remind everybody, every time we get into that tax advice, that financial planner advice, while you might tell a story that's helpful, I think it's important that you also try to get the CPA or the financial planner in the loop. And, I also think it's probably good for compliance. As mortgage professionals, we should not be giving, tax advice. And while we might work with a financial planner to present a mortgage strategy that has some financial planning concepts in it, it's just a great opportunity to get the professionals in the loop. So anyways, just a suggestion. Great question, Linda. Absolutely love it. Guys, keep your questions coming down on us. So Todd, let's do this. We could talk about seller buy down all day. And if anybody does put questions in, we'll come back to it. But I personally want to hear your breakdown on sales mastery. And Jen, if you have any takeaways, I saw Jen in Washington, D.C. Her and I spent some time together. And if you have any takeaways from MBA, I would love to give you a shot afterwards to share your MBA takeaways. I'll share mine. So let's transition to that. Todd, any takeaways?
Yeah, I would just throw a few out there, and I definitely see some of you on Facebook Live and in Zoom who were at Sales Mastery. So I'd love you guys to comment what your big takeaways were, and then we can kind of rip on that. I think that would be awesome. It's always interesting when you go to an event like that because there's an amazing amount of speakers, right? It's drinking from a fire hose of great ideas. But I would say the one thing that I heard over and over again, and everyone put it kind of differently, is this idea of really getting comfortable being uncomfortable, right? You're going to really have to push harder going into a changing, shifting market, however you're going to call that. Disrupted market is what I've heard a bunch of people say lately. And so you're going to have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, push yourself differently. Now, the interesting thing is that what I continue to hear is what my buddy, Coach Michael Regan, calls back to the future. What's old is new again. And so I'm also hearing lots of people talking about getting belly to belly with borrowers, right? The client experience was a big thing. Working your database was a big thing, right? And your mortgage review, stuff that we've talked about on here. And you just had experts up on stage giving their take and how they're executing on it, just like Dave brings here into the mortgage coach community. And so I saw, a lot of that. I saw a lot of the experiential piece, right? Steve Sims got up there and spoke. If you guys don't know who Steve is, there's a video. Dave interviewed him earlier this year in the Tuesday mortgage coach call. And Steve's become a friend of mine. And the guy just crushed it on stage, really talking about just little small tips about how to connect with people. And again, he's talking about setting things like handwritten notes. It's something you've heard about for years, right? He talks about, picking up your iPhone and shooting a quick video and sending it to someone versus, just sending them a normal text. And so it's just these ways to connect to your borrower, because I think Dave, I don't want to steal your thunder, but what Dave says is right. I mean, you want to be the loan officer who embraces technology is going to replace the loan officer who doesn't, right? Technology is not going to replace you. I said that kind of in reverse order, but that's all right. Let me look and see if I missed anything else that I thought was really in there. I think the big thing was, going back to the relationships in your database. I'd love to know what some of you guys are doing with your database, and certainly Jen is a queen of her database. She's got it really under control. But you had people get up there and really talk about how they were using their database, how they were working with their realtors and using their realtors database, and what that looked like. I'm looking to see if anyone, come on, I see you guys here. No one's giving me any comments of their big takeaways. Dave's pulling up the pictures from our happy hour. What do we have, over 100 people at our happy hour?
We had a killer
It was crazy.
happy hour, champagne toast, 32 photos. Actually, I'm trying to share the screen real quick here. By the way, I am going to push this post up to the top of announcements, because this was something that was super cool. And my takeaway was this. An event like Sales Mastery, something that everybody had in common there is that they were just curious about getting better. Like everybody there, they invested time, they invested money, and they were getting after it. So it attracted a lot of super curious people, like all of you that are on the call right now. Everybody on this call right now is someone that's taking time out of your Friday from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock Pacific, or you're listening to the recording because you want to get better, you want to get after it. And so a takeaway was just, wow, the people that are making change, the people that are getting after it, they're going to these events and they're making the time to work on their business, not just in their business. So, it kind of reminded me of just that, like the people that are really making the most of this market are those people that are doing it. By the way, they're also, not everybody who's there does this, but when I would talk to the top producers, the best of the best, they were taking great notes. They were, they may have notes and notes of ideas, but they were codifying it down to their top couple. And then they're scheduling jam sessions. They're scheduling time to do these things. And then one last takeaway I had, and this really kind of go into my MBA takeaways. When I did that call on Tuesday, and I was, side by side with John Downs, $100 million producer in DC. I had amazing loan officers around the country on the call. And then Jim McQuaig came in, and his big takeaway was take action and speed of implementation. So it's like that speed of implementation. That was like a note that I took. And one of the reasons why I'm going to work this weekend, I'm going to take some time to talk about how the seller buydown can give you a competitive advantage. I'm going to write an article because it helps mortgage coach. It helps our mission of getting loan officers who are rate quoters, playing the price game, playing checkers, into the strategy game of coming up with mortgage strategies. And so given my mission with Mortgage Coach is to turn loan officers into mortgage advisors, I'm like, I got to get after it. I've got to do calls, I've got to create content, I got to create articles. And so, hopefully I'm leading by example by the way that I'm getting after it. And then hopefully everybody on this call, you're going to get after it and you're going to play it forward and share it with the community. So a couple of thoughts from me. Todd, anything you want to play after that before we hand it to Jim?
Yeah, again, what I loved about the mastermind there is that, people came up and they're like, where's Bliss? Is Bliss here? I remember Danielle Hinton, that was her. She wanted to connect with Bliss, right? I had 2 inviting mastermind lunches, and we had, 7, 8 people together each day, just really talking about takeaways. And there was just so much connection there and learning from each other, sharpening from each other, asking questions, right? Getting to spend time with Rick Shear, right? There's Dave Gallegos, who was one of the original mentors in this group, right? There's Bliss and Louise Thaxton. We had some amazing people there, all trading ideas for a couple of hours and then really throughout the event. So I always say when you leave an event like that, Dave, you're right. You gotta really get those notes condensed down. You gotta pick up your best bullet points so that you can execute on those, and then figure out who else was there that you can reach out to. And so if you weren't there, you're seeing these pictures, right? You can go in the Facebook group and see who was there, and then figure out how do I connect with that person after the fact. There's Steve Sims, the ugly guy with that's what he calls himself, Ugly Sim. So I'm not insulting him in any way. And I love that speed of implementation, because I do think that's the difference. And I think you're right when you can circle back to the buy-down. I think that there's LOs who are just jumping in, and they're going to be the ones who really are known in the marketplace for bringing the innovative strategies. Look, there's Dan and Trinidad and Katie Pastor, it's their anniversary, so we should say happy anniversary. Hopefully you guys
Happy anniversary, you guys.
You guys are on vacation.
And then here's the deal. You know, Katie, right now, I know because she's working on a total cost analysis with a seller buy down, and then we'll have her hopefully showcasing one of those strategies. Maybe she's not working on it today, anniversary day, but she, you know, getting after it, you know, taking the opportunity to take the challenge in the marketplace today and then bring leadership to your realtors, bring leadership to your buyers. Let's face it, we are in a time in the market where it's a little chaotic. You know, I mean, rates have rapidly changed, the market's changing, disruption is in the air. And so it's just a great time to get after it. So Jen, let's throw it back to you. Hopefully your connection's good. Any takeaways you had from MBA or anything you want to share in the topic at hand? We don't hear you, by the way.
I might have lost her.
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, she's
on. We're going to fill that time.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, we will. So by the way, we do have more topics, but I do want to throw it out there. If you are on this call right now and you have a question for myself or Todd, or by the way, if you're on this call right now and you have a success story that you want to jump on stage and share with the audience, I can, you know, unmute you, put you on camera, keep you off camera, so we can bring other folks into this call. We got a lot of people on this call. So one, you can raise your hand, or you can make a comment and just say, hey, Dave, bring me into the hunt. So I'm probably going to bring someone in just because we lost Jen.
I like to call that empowering, right? We're going to empower one of you. I'm going to, you're going to really do that to her?
Yeah, well, I can't. Hey, Marcy, by the way, heads up, I don't have the superpower to promote people. I don't know if there's a way you could give that to me live, but if there is.
You have a lot of superpowers, though.
Yeah, well, in Zoom, I don't have that.
Oh, there you go. Maybe you have it now.
Oh, boom. Thank you, Marcy.
Marcy's like the Wizard of Oz in the background and makes all this happen.
So Bliss, we did it to you.
Well, I don't want to say thanks to Bliss because, I got Bliss on kind of last minute last week to come up to the suite and she and I recorded live, right? So again, the same kind of thing where it's awkward where you're doing it side by side with each other. And, Jen was going to be out there and we had, she had the hurricane there, so she was off, right? She had some technical challenges. So Bliss and I had to, on the fly, really come up with more content to bring for the full hour. And she crushed it talking about marketing. And I got a lot of great feedback on that call. So if you haven't listened to it, I would recommend if you want some great marketing ideas, Bliss is truly one of the masters of marketing.
So Bliss, you are unmuted. Is there any chance you can, share some of the things you're doing in the market right now?
I'm unmuted? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I had a really great time at Sales Mastery. I've been in the business forever and a day, and it was actually my first one to go to, and already excited to go next year. 2 reasons. One, it's great to meet up with people in the mortgage community, especially, right? I love talking with Dan and Katie at your happy hour and seeing Louise.
Hey, Les, by the way, are you in a place where you could turn on your video, or are you just not wanting to?
Yes, but I want to.
Yeah, go ahead and turn on your video so we can see you when we talk to you.
Push the button that says start video.
Yeah, that would be the one. What's going on?
All right. Can you see me?
We can.
Cool. Yeah, so I kind of came away with 2 sides of Sales Mastery, right? One was the connecting. So the last morning I sat next to a guy that had been in the business 3 months. That's crazy. Like the guy must have just been so overwhelmed, but super fun to talk to him. And then on the other side of me was Rhonda Johnson, who I've known forever and has been originating up in Alaska for, 20 some years. So it was just nice to see all different types of people in different phases of business. But then I also took away the motivation to actually implement ideas and things that I wanted to do with my team. We came up with not only the ideas that we got from there, but we actually came up with other ideas that didn't have anything to do with what was discussed. We were just in a mode of being creative. So that was just super cool to see that and do that with my team. And I'm not hearing you guys. Are you there?
As well, right? Your team.
Yeah, we did.
You didn't just do it by yourself. You brought the other people who matter the most in your organization. So I think that's also great leadership for the rest of the community to sort of watch and kind of see what, what someone like Bliss does. She doesn't just go and say, all right, I'll go take good notes, team, and bring it back to you. She brought them, and then, you've got great takeaways from someone like Tyson, who's been on your team for less than a year, right? And new to the business.
Yeah, absolutely. There was something that Tom Ramirez said when he spoke, and I actually posted it on Instagram. I can't remember exactly what it was. Maybe you can, Todd or Dave, but he said something about, we're so much more than one, meaning, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. I have 3 people on my team. 1 + 1 + 1 actually equals 10 because we brainstorm and we come up with ideas. And so that was really fun to see that happen in that concentrated setting. And now we're back in the office and we're implementing those things. So whether people get it from something like these Friday calls or they go to a conference, I think you need that to just be part of your business, right? And I'm taking that to another level and being more focused on doing it.
Love that. Hey, by the way, Scott Morris, I have brought you into the panel section and unmuted you. Are you in a place where you could chat? Can you hear us? And I've unmuted you. Scott. All right. Well, Scott, if you can hear us and you're just trying to work on your monitor, know that one, you can turn on your camera. So if you want to be on video, you can talk. And we had a really neat conversation. If Scott isn't able to join us live, Todd and I will kind of riff on some of the dialogue we had with him at Sales Mastery. And then, by the way, Linda Buchanan, you have also been pretty active in the Facebook group. And I think it was during the Tuesday call, you were collaborating and sharing some ideas. You even shared a email video that you created. I've unmuted you. Linda, are you in a place where you can answer some questions and share what you're doing?
Sure. Can you hear me?
We can. By the way, you don't have to put on your video, but if you are in a place where you can turn on your video, it would be great.
I have no video right now.
No problem. Well, let's just chat real quick.
Yeah.
So by the way, folks who don't know, Linda is, by every definition, just apex mortgage professional, top producer, has done over 1,000 total cost analysis. How are things going for you in your market right now, Linda?
They're good. They're slow, though. We are down here in Manhattan Beach. Can you hear me? I think we have a delay.
No, we hear you.
Okay, good. Pretty quiet. The agents are saying that the open houses are very slow. So instead of letting that get into my head, I'm just like, what can I do next? What can I do next? And I am using the Mortgage Coach seller buy down like crazy. And as soon as I see that they've opened that email, I'm on the phone calling. And a really cool thing the other day, I got an email from a top producing real estate agent that had come to me and said, hey, can you prepare an analysis on a seller buy down? And that was out of the blue, but she's on my blast. I went into the MTA and I threw out the 10-mile perimeter of our area here. I picked every top buyer's agent and I just added them to my list. And it almost killed my assistant, but that was really cool because I'm now having an ability to go out and approach those agents for a meeting or just continuing to drip on them.
Love that. So guys, did you hear all that? I mean, Linda is just getting after it. She's building her database, so she's adding buyer's agent. I do believe, Linda, didn't you share a link to the email video? I think you used BonBon. Didn't you share that?
Right. Yeah.
In the chat? And then would you mind sharing a link to one of your total cost analysis and when you did I don't know whether you did the seller buy down, the partner seller buy down, whether you did the borrower buy down or the TCA, what output did you choose in Mortgage Coach?
I did the first one I did was in BonBon, and that was last week. And that had a bunch of opens. I had a pretty high percentage of opens. I then sent out the just the seller buy down. And are you asking like which, I just used a basic, going in and using the basic
So you used the basic total cost analysis. Yeah,
that's all I did.
Did you notice there is an option instead of a total cost analysis, you could pick seller buy down? I don't know if you noticed.
I did see that, and I was just moving quickly because I wanted to get it out. I just had it time sensitive, and I just didn't include taxes,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a little bit of a delay, Dave. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. So could you maybe like just kind of walk us through the type of total cost analysis you did? And because it will just be helpful for people to hear, here you are, you literally started the strategy, you created an email video, you got it out, you created total cost analysis. Could you just maybe describe what you put together?
I actually took it off of Jeremy Forcier's. I must have listened to him about 10 times because I think he's great at scripting. And the first one was current rate, current sales price. That was my first option. The second option was dropping it by 10% or 5% because my area is a higher average sales price. So I did a 5% drop and what that would look like monthly payment. And then the third option was leaving the price alone, buying it down with 2 points, and having the ability to get the buyer into a lower price point. So it saved them about $300 a month. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, sorry for blowing it.
No, that's okay. Yeah, I had to search for it actually, but you know, Jeremy just kills it with his, yes, that's the one right there, guys. That I just followed his template right there.
So a couple things I want to make sure everybody connects the dot on. So Jeremy was on a Friday call. He talked for the first 15 minutes, just saying, hey, I sent an email out to 500 realtors. This is what I in the actual notes down below, we put a link to his actual TCA. And he did put a video on it. So he added a video to agents. And also in the description, we put the email he used. So this was his subject line, you know, new market, new solutions. And then this was his actual email that he sent out. So it worked. And then, you know, if you listen to the call, Jeremy shares in detail what he did. And then this Tuesday, we had a bigger audience. By the way, all of the TCAs, we had John Downs, he had already taken action and created a TCA. We had Lori Richardson had already done one. Scott Nicholson did one. So all the links to all of their TCAs are there. So guys, for anybody that's on this call that's like, how do I do this? Where do I do this? We teed it up for you. You may have to watch and look at it and study, and you might need to slow down before you speed up. But guys, make sure you go to this content. The 2 homework assignments I would give everybody is listen to the first 15 minutes of last Friday's call. Looks like 800 and almost 1,000 of you have already done that. And then this Tuesday, looks like we've already had 600 views. We had hundreds of people on the call. So that's the content. So Linda, it looks like you pretty much are just tuned in. You listened to Jeremy, you looked at this, and you've already taken action. Is that fair to say?
Absolutely. It took me 30 times to video it though, the first time. And then I had to get out of my head and just do it.
Well, and I love that, right? I just love the idea that you took action. I love the idea that you didn't have to reinvent the wheel. You just took what Jeremy did and redid it. And then I would just say, gosh, yeah, 3 takes, that should be enough. And at that point, if you stumble over, you guys hear it, right? I mean, I say and on these things every week, and you know, Dave and I aren't professional speakers. So it's just a matter of doing it and getting it out there. And, you know, again, go back to what you said, Jim said, speed of implementation. And I know, you know, I love seeing it, right? Brad Flores just said he used a seller Buydown for the first time yesterday. It was a success. I know.
Good job, Brad.
Bliss, you said that you've been using it too. Have you been doing something similar, or have you been doing something different?
Can you still hear me?
We can.
Oh, good. So I actually watched a couple of the videos, and then I watched is it Tina who explained how to do it? Because I never do I'm so in a rut, right? I never do anything but TCAs. So I was going to go in and manually figure everything and come up with different strategies. But I watched her video explaining how to do the seller buy down, and it's amazing. It is so slick how you just literally fill out 1 column instead of all 4, and then it does all 4 for you. And I loved the 4th column where it shows you in my case, the one I did, you would have to pay down, you'd have to drop the sales price to $465 from $500,000, so $35,000 to get the same payment. In my scenario, if the seller paid $12,000 in a permanent buy down, so the seller can walk away with $23,000 more and have the same payment for the buyer. And so I sent that TCA in a link through a BombBomb video out to my realtors this morning, actually. And I've had a couple realtors reply to the email that I don't work with, interestingly enough. They're just on my list saying, hey, this is great. Thanks for the information. And so the hope is, you know, even if nobody ever actually even uses the seller buy down in a transaction, right? Being really quick to come to the market to bring back this idea we haven't had the need to use for a couple of years. So it's making me just be top of mind with them and showing them, hey, I'm always thinking about how can we better serve your clients. And here's a creative idea. So I just love that you guys gave me those resources that I didn't have to spend the time, you know. So like, yeah, I still use this. Like, I'm so old fashioned. And for me to actually sit down and figure all of those things, it would have probably taken me another 20 minutes to chicken scratch everything and then make the 4 different options. So if you're doing it in TCA, I'm going to recommend you watch, Dave, is it Tina's video?
Yep. It's in,
yeah,
it's in you guys.
Yeah, it's a couple minutes long, and I would slow it down. I would stop it. I would go do exactly what she was doing, start it again. Each step of the way, I had blocked out an hour jam session to work on seller buy down. And I'll tell you, I struggle with that. Stopping everything to work on one thing is hard for me. I'd rather be, you know, anyways, I struggle with that, right? But I forced myself to watch Jeremy, to watch a couple of those other ones that Dave had listed, but then to watch Tina's explanation of how to do it and click seller buy down. It was amazing.
So guys, I'm going to make sure Tina's seller buy down video is, you know, not in a comment, but as a post. And by the way, it might already be there. I'll also make sure it's in announcements, so it'll be at the top of the post. So if you're watching the video and you're like, hey, where is that, Tina, how to create a seller buy down, just go to the Facebook group, in announcements. It'll be there for at least a week. And we'll continue, you know, like, by the way, that's another thing. I just want to, you guys can see my screen right now. If you go to our Facebook group, hang on.
So Dave, I just used the search function that you taught me how to use.
I was just going to show that. So guys, if you just went to our search function and typed in buy down, every post, everything is going to show up that is in buy down. So that's another way. Here it is right here, you know, Tina Ann book. But I'm gonna still push it to the top, but just remember search. And by the way, you can use this for anything. If you want to type in FHA, you want to type in you're new in the mortgage business and you have a question or a topic, think of our Facebook group as just another resource for you to learn faster and get a competitive advantage. So that's there. Also, I want to just walk people through the, you know, I mean, this is a wireframe of the article that we're writing. It's going to have 3 primarily components: principles, which are just like beliefs and concepts that you need to embrace to optimize this strategy. And then it's going to have strategies. Like, you know, these are, it could be marketing campaigns, are going to be distinctive strategies of what all the different ways that you can optimize this seller buy down. And then there's going to be a checklist, you know, and I do want to just kind of go through the checklist and put a little color on it right now for you guys going into the weekend. You need to create a seller buy down TCA for a buyer. So, and by the way, that can be buyer or buyer's agent, but that's a very specific conversation. You're showing the buyer how it benefits them. And now if they're getting ready to make an offer on a listing and you want them to be able to kind of sell the seller buy down to the agent, you know, that's kind of the secondary value. It's like, hey, here's the value to you as the buyer. And by the way, this is how you sell it to the seller. So that's a TCA, that's a video. Everybody's got to have one. You also need to have and create a seller buy down for the buyer's agent, very specifically to the buyer's agent, and very specifically to the seller's agent. Because the way you have that conversation with a seller, it is different. It's like, you know, seller's agent, hey, do you have any listings that you're going to have to make a price reduction on? Oh, yeah, I've got 20% of my listings. Oh, how would you like it if I could show a mortgage strategy that could literally cost the seller a third as much of the amount that they have to buy down? Like if it's a $50,000 price reduction, how would you like it if I showed a mortgage strategy that for $15,000 in seller funds could give the buyer of that home the same monthly payment, the same benefit? Would you like to know more about that? So it's a different voice, it's a different video, it's a different TCA. You absolutely need to create a Facebook video and get this out to whoever it is on Facebook. And if you have groups, you might have one video for your groups, you might have one video for your high school friends, you might have another video for all your past customers. But you gotta leverage Facebook, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's your iPhone and you upload it, you gotta do that. By the way, you've got to schedule meetings. Like face to face, have conversations. So literally, everybody on this call, 5 meetings on your calendar with realtors to get out there and get after it. And then by the way, you've also need to understand how to do the MI, seller funded MI buyout. So, I mean, those are super on point mortgage coach strategies. And again, this checklist is probably going to have 10 different things by Monday, but I did want to give you guys some color. Todd, anything just comes to mind that we should add to the list?
I mean, I think add to the list is block the time, right? I mean, again, if you're going to take, you already heard Bliss say she blocked an hour in order to figure out how to do this, right? You heard Linda say that, she actually sent these to agents. You have to make time for this, right? If you're going to schedule the 5 meetings that Dave's telling you to schedule, you're going to have to pick up the phone. And so I would just be looking at your calendar for next week, right? And just and start mapping out the time now, and then create that like a serious appointment. Like, that's an appointment that your career depends on versus getting to next week and thinking, oh, if I have time today, I'll do it. I mean, you've got to create that appointment with yourself. I think if you can do that, then you can implement this, right? You've set out the roadmap. It's not going to be that hard. And I think you're going to get conversation going. Whether or not any of your people actually do it doesn't matter. What matters is that Bliss sent out an email and she's had responses this morning from agents who aren't her normal agents that she works with. That's how you're going to grow your business heading into this year. Because if their loan officer is not adding value like that, and Bliss is going to get to steal that business. So, of course, as always, Bliss, well done.
Yeah, and by the way, don't just schedule one jam session to do one thing. This is an initiative. The seller buydown, I mean, there's multiple videos, there's multiple total cost of mortgage coach. This is an initiative. So, I would schedule a jam session to make out your TCAs. Schedule that. I would schedule a jam session and a time to record some marketing videos or to do that Rick Share Facebook Live. By the way, Linda Buchanan, you may have missed the first part of the call, but at the very top, I pinned it to the top of our Facebook group. You can see a video that Jenny did where I don't know what camera she used, but my guess is she used her mobile phone, and then she just uploaded it as a Facebook post. And then she just took a link to a total cost analysis and put it in comments. I mean, Jenny Stoner, if you're listening to this, we'd love to know how much time you spent, and I'll see if I can get Jenny to show up to next Friday's call and mastermind with us, share what she did, how she did it. And then Linda also, Rick Shear just started a Facebook Live and had a conversation with his realtors. I'll see if I can get Rick to come to an upcoming Friday call and share the kind of results he's getting. So those are super easy things to do. Get after it, guys. And remember, bring your success stories back to this group. If you get value from me, you get value from Todd, you get value from this group, the best way for you to say thank you is to give us a like, share it, and ask questions and contribute. Bring your success back into this group. That is the way you say thank you to us, is to just participate and make this group more valuable. So we got about 6 minutes left. Bliss, we pulled you out of the stands and put you on stage. Anything you want to share or anything you want to ask the group as we get into wrap up mode?
Sometimes something like this feels overwhelming because you haven't done anything like that and you don't necessarily want to talk about anything if you don't feel comfortable with the strategy. And so I love what Todd said. Well, both of you said that, just schedule time to get familiar with it. There's so many people that have now done it that just watch their videos. That's what I did. I wasn't super comfortable with it, and I found that I was procrastinating it. So what's today? Friday. So I kind of had it on my to-do list on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. And finally yesterday I said, well, no matter what, today I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to at least do my own seller buy down in Mortgage Coach. Once I did that, I actually was super comfortable doing the video with it. I think I did maybe 3 takes. It's not perfect. It's really just organic of, hey, here's this idea. I had jotted down some notes from Lori Richardson's and Jeremy Forcier's, and then I just kind of put my own voice to it. And when I was done, honestly, I was like, oh, I could have done better, right? I should have said, for example, I didn't mention that going at a higher sales price, the original sales price also makes you more money as an agent, right? I didn't mention that, but I didn't go back and redo it. I just put it together. And then I wanted to wait till this morning. This morning is when I sent it out. And so just take action quickly. Don't keep procrastinating it, because I guarantee you there's somebody else in your market that is probably working on this right now. And if you're the first person to put it out there to your agents, you look a whole lot more credible than the second and the third person to put it out there. So do it imperfectly rather than waiting to do it perfectly. And I think Jen.
Love that, Bliss. And by the way, folks, I don't know if you can see my screen right now. Bliss just did a post, well, I guess it was yesterday, saying, looking for email subject line suggestions. I'm sending,
I use that.
Yeah, because I'm sending this seller buy down strategy to a large group. By the way, she asked a question, she gave value, she gave us a post so we could see what she's putting together, and she's looking for suggestions. So if you get any value from this group whatsoever, best way to give value back is to play it forward. So please share any headlines that you're using, share them in the group. We'd really, really appreciate that. So Linda Buchanan, we got 3 minutes left. Is there anything you want to ask or anything you want to say as we wrap up today's call?
No, I think, first of all, thank you so much. It's bringing so much value to me, and I've known you for many, many years, Dave. I just think that in this environment, we have to be a step ahead of our competition. And I think we are all that are on this call probably 10 steps ahead, no matter how long you've been in the business. So I just don't be shy. I've got a couple of people in my office that I'm really trying to motivate to jump on and just video. And I'm going to start helping train them, but just jump in, like everybody says. Don't wait, jump in right now.
Love that. So Coach Todd Bookspan, I mean, we are, literally a couple minutes left. Any words of wisdom as we wrap up today's call and get ready for the week ahead?
All I'm going to do is continue to repeat what you just heard, Linda, Bliss. You're hearing from people who are executing, right? There's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's no need to overthink it. You just need to take action, right? I mean, Bliss said you don't want to be the third person or the 10th person, right? Dave already showed you there's been over 1,400 people, 1,500 people, 600 people, whatever that number was, who've already watched these videos, right? Those are people in your market. So beat them to it, get something out, and make it happen. And there's great examples in our group. So I would just say, get out there and implement.
Got it, guys. Well, I'm going to give you 2 minutes back in your day. Thank you for joining us on Friday. Every Friday, 9 o'clock Pacific, we're here to mastermind, have an informal ad hoc conversation. Every single Tuesday at 9 o'clock, I'm interviewing someone amazing, and we're bringing value. Last Tuesday, I think, was a super special call. Not only, did I put that in the best of 2018 playlist, I put it in the all-time playlist. Just the quality of the masterminding and how important this idea is. I think it's literally one of the all-time great calls. I hope you get value from it. Please, if you do, like it. Let us know every time you get value. Give us a like on Facebook, give us a like in YouTube, and play it forward. And most importantly, take action. So have a great weekend, everybody. Todd, good having you, brother.
Dude, it's fun to be here.
All right, see you later, everybody. This call's a wrap.